Hi everyone. Just ran 3 miles and we are going to do a post-run hips and hamstring flow. I'm out here on my back deck enjoying the beautiful nature today, working from home. So I'm going to have this one up on my Instagram feed for you guys to do whenever you want. So I'm just coming live here to put it out there. And then if you're going to do this with me today, grab a block. So a block is going to be really handy. You can still do it without a block, but a block really helps, especially if you have tight hips or hamstrings. That helps bring the ground up closer to you. So you're not losing anything from your practice if you use props. Really what props are to get you in the right alignment so that you're not injuring any of your joints and you can stretch the muscles correctly without overstretching tendons or connective tissues. So grab your block if you're going to do this with me. I'm also going to download it and put it on my YouTube later so that you can do that from the comfort of your own home. We're going to start at the top of our mat. We're going to do a little bit of a warm-up. Opening up the chest and the shoulders for runners are super important. It's an area of the body that we often ignore, but if we have a strong upper back and open chest, we can breathe better and we can keep our rib cage kind of uplifted so that we're not dumping down into the low back. So start at the top of your mat. Take your feet about as wide as your hips. Inhale the hands up. And drop your right hand down. Reach your left hand up and over. Just a nice little side bend. You can look up underneath the left armpit towards the ceiling of the sky. Inhale back up through center. And we're going to do the same thing other side. Left hand down. Rotate, look up underneath that right armpit up towards the ceiling of the sky. Then back up center. And goalpost your arms, a little gentle bend in the knees. We're going to squeeze our glutes so that we can take a tiny back bend without putting a lot of pain and stress in our low back. Just opening up through the chest. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, forward fold. And just take a halfway lift. Step back, knees on the ground. Drop the belly for cow pose. And then round the upper back into cat pose. Inhale, cow pose. So we're just softening the belly towards the ground, dropping the chest between the shoulders, filling the front line of the body open. And then we round, a little bitty tuck of the tailbone, but really want to focus on arching through the upper back and chin to chest so the back line of the body opens up. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And keep doing that. Just listening to the sound of my voice. We're going to add in some different movements here in cow and cat, in simple spinal balance. That if you are not able to make the shape, that's fine. Our goal is never to have to make the exact shape of a pose, but instead to emulate the energy of the pose. So come to neutral tabletop. Neutral means is we're going to pull in our lower belly so that we take some of the curve out of our low back, hands on the earth. Stick your left leg back behind you. Hip down towards the earth, and your right hand's going to float up, bicep by the ear. We're going to hold here for 3, 2. Then on 1, we take a big breath out, right elbow to the left knee underneath the body. So again, we'll make a little bit of that cat back. It's a little bit of balance too. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round and tap. 1 more. Lengthen, round and tap. Now here's an add-on. Again, if you can't create this shape, just emulate the energy. Left heel in towards the glute. Right hand reach back, find the ankle. If the hand cannot make connection with the ankle, we're just going to create the shape with the energy of the pose. If we've got the ankle, we're going to lift up, keeping the rib cage knitted around us so we don't feel too much of this in our low back. Hold for 3, 2, release long on 1, so arm and leg extends 1 more time, and then float it down to the ground. Now let's shift our hips to the left and to the right. Gets into some of those glute muscles on the outside edges of our hips. And then we're going to come back into tabletop. Do the same thing other side. So right leg behind you, keeping both hips squared towards the mat, and float the left arm up, bicep by the ear. We'll hold here for a moment, pressing into the right hand, thinking of a lift away from the ground, while keeping the spine nice and straight. Big full breath in. Exhale, elbow to knee. We just have 3 of these. Inhale, reach and extend. Exhale, curl and tap. Inhale, reach and extend. Exhale, curl and tap. One more time, reach and extend. Stay here. Bend the heel in towards the glute. Reach back with the hand. Either create the energy of the shape or the lift. Press into the right hand on the mat, keeping the rib cage knitted together. Release to get long one more time. And then hand and knee to the earth. Spread the fingers on your hands. Little pine needles here. Spread the fingers on your hands. Tuck your toes under. Downward facing dog. So let's lift up and back. And we're just going to pedal our down dog. Press one heel into the earth and switch. It's like you're walking in place. And we're going to take our feet about hip width distance apart and then walk your hands back to your feet. So that you're at the back of the mat, weight in your heels, a little bend in the knees, drop your head, let it be heavy, hold on to your arms, opposite hand, opposite elbow, ragdoll. Ooh, hamstrings are tight. You can take your head from side to side. We're going to go through 3 easy sun A's from the back of the mat forward. So release your arms. You can keep your feet wide if you'd like, or heel toe them to touch. And just roll yourself up to stand. And once we get to the top, we're taking the hands up again. Another side bend to the right. Move back through center and a side bend to the left. Back through center. Forward fold. And we'll walk our palms to the top of the mat. Coming to plank pose. Kind of scoot your heels backwards and lower down to the belly. Again, shoulders are really important for runners. So we're coming to cobra pose. Making your shoulders work, roll them back, press into the hands, just lifting up with a gentle bend in the elbows. Exhale, roll back down. Do that 2 more times with your breath. So your inhale is going to rise your chest up. Exhale is going to roll your chest back down. One more time. Inhale, raise your chest up. Exhale, lower it back down. All right, then tuck your toes under. Come all the way into downward facing dog or knees to downward facing dog. And then look forward. Step your right foot forward. May take a couple of steps to get there. Left foot forward, top of your mat. Halfway lift, so long spine, hips backward, heart forward, and then fold. Stand all the way up. Big breath in. Back down. We're just going to repeat that, but one cobra this time. Halfway lift with your inhale. Step back to plank pose, solid line in the body, and then lower all the way down. Untuck the toes. Cobra pose with your breath in. Roll back down to the belly with your breath out. Tuck your toes under, coming either to knees or all the way to downward facing dog where we'll all meet. Then we're going to look forward. Step your left foot forward, step your right foot forward, make your way to the top of the mat, forward fold. Then bring your fingertips to your shins for that halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Press into the heels, rise all the way up. One more time through, forward fold. Halfway lift and lengthen. Step back into your plank pose, fingers spread, toes at the back of the mat, lower all the way down to the belly with control, elbows by the sides, untuck the toes, cobra pose with your breath in. Lower back down with your breath out. Tuck the toes, lift up, lift back, downward facing dog. Take your right leg up and a big step through to low lunge. We're going to go ahead and drop the back knee to the earth and then tuck the toes. We're going to grab our block, put it here on the left side. Place your left hand on the block or on the earth and reach your right hand up for a twist. So runner's lunge twist. And bring your right hand back down. We're going to keep that block with us, so just grab onto it with the left hand. As you tuck your back toes under, lift the kneecap up, and come all the way up into high lunge. You can take that block with you and hold it up over your head, both hips facing forward. Full breath in here. Full breath out. One more inhale. As we exhale, we take the block in the left hand, straighten your right leg. Bring the block all the way down to the ground for pyramid pose. So make it nice and wide. So a lot of times pyramid is short, but because we're using the block, we're going to keep our feet wide. So we're going to lift up on the back toes. So left heel lifts up high. Front foot, move that block back so you can see, we're going to lift our right toes up. Ooh! That gets into the calf muscle, into the hamstring. You're going to have to stabilize to the inner thighs. Just hold here. Let your head hang heavy for 3, 2, lower both the heel and the toes down on 1, and bump your back toes in just a little bit so that now we have that shortened pyramid. It's more stable. Okay? Left hand's going to come to the block, your choice of how you take the height, either flat or level 2 or level 3. Depends on the tightness of your hamstrings. Take the left hand down to the block. I'm going to come level 2. And then begin to lift your chest up halfway. Then rotate right arm up towards the right side without moving the hips. So we want that right hip to be down and pulling back as the right hand comes up. Woo! And slowly lower the right hand down. We're going to pivot now towards the left. So you can just walk that block with you as you turn both toes in. You can keep the block underneath the hands if you'd like as we widen the feet. But we want the toes in, heels out for straddle, and then let your head drop. So a nice little inner thigh and hamstring stretch. And lift yourself up halfway. We're going to move that block to the side and pivot back towards the top of the mat. Place the hands down, step back, high plank, and slowly lower all the way down to the earth. We'll take a chest stretch on the right side. So I'm going to bring my right arm goalpost down on the ground, left hand right here where it landed. As we push into the left hand, roll to the right, feel the chest stretch on the right side. Don't go so far to where you feel too much tension in the right shoulder. Instead, we just want to feel the front of the chest stretching. Tight chest for a runner. It's going to cut off your breath. You breathe better when you don't have a tight chest. Whew, that feels good. All right, back to center. I think everybody should just stretch their chest every day. Everybody. No exceptions. All right, cobra pose, inhale. We'll do the left side when we get to that side next round. Down. Downward facing dog. Push up, push back. All right, left leg's going to lift. Step through. Low lunge. Drop the back knee to the earth. Untuck the toes. We'll grab that block, take it to the right side. Just kind of find the little right knee. So I've got to find where that feels comfortable on the right kneecap. The right hand down. Lift left hand up. So runner's lunge with a twist on this side. And just be cautious of what this hip is doing. We still want this nice little right angle in the hip, knee, and ankle. Okay, then bring the hand down. Tuck the back toe under, lift the kneecap. Get that nice stable stance in the lower half. We're going to take the block up with us. High lunge. Just kind of a little reset for the hips. A little bit of energy in the muscles. Take a full breath in. Stay here for your breath out. And we're coming to that wide pyramid first, so block in the right hand. Begin to straighten the left leg, staying up high on the back toes. Bring the block down to the earth. This left hand can either come to the shin, to the fingertips to the ground. I got short arms, so I can only get my fingertips there. But we're in this wide stance on purpose. We're lifting the right heel up, that back heel, up high on the balls of the toes. And then we're peeling the left foot up so that we're balancing on the heel of the left foot. Contract the core, getting into this left calf and hamstring. All right, lower the feet and the heels. And this is where we're going to bump the right toes in so that we have a shortened pyramid stance. We're going to keep the hips lifted and squared off towards the ground as we take our twist. So right hand on the block. We're just twisting from the rib cage. Okay, feel that? As if we twist from the hips, it can put too much pressure in your low back. So try to keep your hips in one line and just twist open from the rib cage. Holy mackerel. Lynn's hips are tight. Hamstrings, I guess, rather. Ooh, breathe. One more. And take the left hand down. And we're just going to take our block with us as we Pivot, pivot, pivot. Widen, widen, and then angle toes in, heels out for straddle on this side. Not like a super great angle for the camera, but you know, it is what it is. I taught a whole day of yoga teacher training anatomy yesterday in a workshop, and my whole body needs this. All right, let's come on up. Walk back towards the top of your mat. We're going to just leave that block here as we pivot. We'll step the left foot back, lower down to the belly. And I got to kick my coffee out of the way. Goalpost the left arm on the ground. Right palm is going to press as we roll a little to the left. Stretch the left chest. And then roll back to the center. We're going to press back into child's pose, just kind of a reset for the low back. So knees wide, toes touching, hips back towards the heels. Arms are lengthened down the mat. Just pause here for a few breaths. This is a little different than men's normal flows where we take a pass through our standing poses and then go through it a little faster. This is a post run or just hip and hamstring flow. Got tight hips, tight hamstrings. If you need to recover from a run, or if you've just been sitting all day or cycling, this is a really good one. So this is not meant to be super intense. All right, move back up into tabletop. Hands on the mat, tuck your toes under, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, step or hop to the top of your mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Widen your knees, or your feet, your knees too. Take your block, put it right there in the center of your mat. Bend your right knee. Right hand on that block. Left leg is still straight, and we're going to lift our left hand up. Little one-legged twist. I don't know what this is called. It's kind of like pyramid pose, but instead of getting more direct, it gets into the hamstring, but it also gets into this outer hip and into the side muscle, your QL, a little bit into the, not really the psoas, but it just really hits a different part of the hip than your pyramid pose. And switch. Boop. Left hand down, right leg straight, bend the left knee, a little variation of a forward fold, I guess you could say. Right arm is up. And then we take the right hand down. All right, soften through the knees, roll all the way up to stand. And return pivot to this side. So both of our toes are facing out. Gotta squat. It is going to be a little bit of work in the quads, but we're releasing quads a little bit later on. So we do want to get a little bit of blood flow to them. If you didn't already have that in your run, but don't worry. Again, not too intense. We're going to bring our hands to our thighs. Lean forward, shrug the shoulders up towards your ears. So we're resting some of our upper body weight on our thighs. Then we're going to roll the left shoulder in. Little stretch there and look over the right. And then back through center. Do the same thing but the other side. Roll the right shoulder in. Look over the left. And back through center. Lift your arms up into goddess pose. We're just going to hold here for a moment. 5, 4, 3, 2, then straighten up on 1. Bring the hands to the heart. So I've got my left foot here in the back. So I'm going to turn my left toes in, so whichever back leg you have. Toes are going to be turned in. Front toes are going to be turned towards the top of the mat. So almost like we're going to triangle, but we're not. We're going to Skandasana towards the back. So bend into the left knee. Sit your hips back. Feel free. If you want to, grab that block to put it underneath your hands. This is a really intense inner thigh stretch. So we're just coming down to wherever we can come. Try not to put pressure in the knee on the bent leg. And then press up Keep your feet positioned exactly as you had them. Toes towards front leg, toes turn towards the top of the mat. Back leg, toes to the side here. Now we're coming to triangle, down and open. Good. Pull yourself up. Bend that front knee. Reverse your warrior. And then make your way to high plank pose. So hands down on the mat. Toes step back. We're going to lower the left knee to the earth. Spin the left foot out to the side. Anchor through the left hand. Reach your right arm up, your right leg up. So side plank on the knee. We're doing this specifically to work this glute medius muscle. As we pull the right toes towards your face, I want you to bend your knee heel towards the glute. Reach back, find your ankle, and give yourself a nice little quad stretch. So you're going to resist your foot in that hand. Press the knee towards the back of the mat while leaning into the left hand. And release the foot. Spin into tabletop. Right hand down. Knees underneath the hips. Tuck your toes under. Downward facing dog. Bend your knees. Look forward. Step or hop. Top of your mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Stand all the way up. Do the same thing the other side. So pivot, turn, goddess pose. Hands to the thighs. Straighten the arms. Weight in the thighs with the upper body. Relax. Shift left shoulder in. Look over the right. Shift back. Right shoulder in. Look over the left. Shift back. Goddess pose for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, reach up on 1. And then we're turning the left toes, or whatever your front foot is now. Mine is my left one. And then my back toes are going to be facing my forest here. My front leg, they're facing the front. Okay? I'm going to bend this back leg into Skandasana. You can use the block or not. I'm going to use mine. So come down. And we're not looking to put pressure in the knee on the bent leg. Instead, we're looking for a deep inner thigh stretch on the straight leg. Okay, and then press yourself back up. We're going to keep the same positioning in the toes. So front toes facing forward, back toes facing out to the side. Triangle pose, reach forward. Bring the hand down as we rotate the chest to the side. Pull yourself back up to center as you bend the front knee. Warrior 2. Reverse your warrior. Hands down into plank pose. Knees down. Rotating onto the right hand and the right knee. Kick your right foot out to the side for a little kickstand. Side plank on the left side's lifted. Right hand and knee are on the earth. So again, we're going to elevate this left leg to work this gluteus medius muscle right here. Super necessary in running. Needs to be strong, point being. Then bend the heel in towards the glute. Reach back with the hand for that quad stretch. So I'm going to gently lengthen through my tailbone. So I don't like calling it tucking, but it's kind of a little bit of a tuck. And my ankle's resisting my hand, and I'm pressing the knee towards the back of the mat while shifting my weight to my hand. So it's a lot of counter cueing. It's a lot of push and pull in the body to get the right muscle stretch without stressing the joint. Okay, 3, 2, release on 1, and then roll back to tabletop. We'll just move through 1 cow and cat. So drop the belly, lift the gaze, breathe in. Exhale, round through the upper back, chin to chest, breathe out. Downward facing dog. Right leg up. Move into half pigeon. So right ankle moves towards the left wrist, right knee to the right wrist. We'll settle down. If you have any knee issues, we're going to take figure 4 on the back instead. Or that block is super handy for tight hips, to put it underneath the right sitting bone to prop it up. Okay, so if you feel like your right sitting bone is just hanging out in space and it's super tense, that's where you want to use those props to protect the attachment, where that tendon in the muscle meets the bone. You don't want to pull that. That's not comfortable, nor is it meeting anyone's goals. So we can stay up on the hands depending on the tightness of your hips. Also want everybody to remember that tight muscles are not a character flaw. They're not. It doesn't mean your muscles are necessarily strong, though. So you just want to keep that balance in mind, strength and flexibility. Also, the ability to touch your toes does not give you a gold star in life or in yoga or anything else. Sorry. A sip of coffee. Not required, but highly recommended. So this is an important aspect of post-athletic endeavors as recovery. Teaching yourself how to come down off that high. It's purposeful relaxation. I hate to tell you, but watching Netflix and laying on the couch is not purposeful relaxation. This is teaching your body how to relax, how to release, and it's an important skill, just like teaching your muscles how to get stronger. All right, press up. If you are on your back in figure 4, I want you to meet us in a seat. If you are in half pigeon, you should gently roll to the right. Swing the back leg around, all the way around that front leg. Now, if you'd like to, you can straighten the right leg out so that your hips can come down onto the ground. If it feels good and is okay for you to keep the right knee bent and your hips can be a little bit more anchored onto the earth, left hip doesn't necessarily have to be all the way down on the earth, but want the energy sending it down towards the earth so that you can sit up nice and tall. Then bring your right hand outside of the left knee, sit up tall, twist to the left. This left hip wants to drive down towards the ground because as we twist, piriformis. Piriformis gets a nice little stretch, gets a nice opening. Got sciatic nerve issues, this is a really great one. As long as you don't have any low back issues to be able to twist. Whew. Unwind back through center. Make your way back to downward facing dog. So we'll do all of that on the left side. And once you get there, half pigeon left side. So left leg up, left knee to left wrist, but left ankle to right wrist. Using the blocks as necessary. You might have one side that's a little tighter than the other side. So act as though breathing deeply will create more space and lengthen the muscles. Like your muscles react to your breath. So that the deeper and the slower that you breathe, the longer, the more release you get in the muscle. Those all work together to help soothe the central nervous system. Relax your jaw. Relax a little bit through your shoulders. Slowly press up. Roll to the left hip. Swing your right leg around. You can either keep the knee bent on the left side or straighten it out. And then hug or hook the right leg with your left arm as we twist to the right. And then unwind, coming back through center. Roll down to your back. We're going to use the block underneath our lower back for a supported bridge. So flat or level 2. Underneath your hips, where your low back and your hips meet, it's called the sacrum. Think of it like where your belt line is. Hands by your side. You can close down your eyes if you'd like to. And hold here. If it feels okay on your low back, you can lengthen your legs. For me, it doesn't. Like, it makes too much of an arch here in my low back, but for some, they really like how that feels in their hip flexors, so I just keep my knees bent. And press your hips up off the block. Take the hips down. Windshield wiper your knees from side to side. If you'd like to extend your practice and take Shavasana, feel free to do that. Otherwise, knees in to the chest. Roll to one side. And press up to a comfortable seated position. And as always, we'll end our practice by taking the hands up, drawing the hands to touch at heart center. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today. Whether you're doing this live or you're doing this at another time, hips and hamstrings, post run, post whatever athletic endeavor, or if you just got tight hips and hamstrings. Bye, everybody.